takes us through to and you know all of the head-butting, if you like, that's been going on recently, and I don't think there's any way that you're going to be able to resolve the argument between Richard O'Rourke and the Republican leadership about what was agreed and what wasn't agreed, what was offered and what wasn't offered. But you do know what was offered in July even, I think it was, by the British. So when you looked at that offer, what was your own thinking? Did you think you had something that
I'll come to that because it is very important to understand. These things don't get plucked out of the air. That's important. What happened was that when Bobby Sands undertook the second hunger strike, and he was followed by McCreesh and or Derryman.
You had Francis Hughes, McCreesh, Patsy.
Yeah, Patsy. The British were basically uninterested in that because they felt that this is my version of it. This may be historically incorrect, but it's certainly what I believe, and there's no point me sitting here and trying to bullshit and all this, because this is what I believe happened. And they said these type of things, that they believed there was enough in the initial document, if it had been worked properly, to sort out the hunger strike.
This is the 1980 document you're talking
about? The 1980 document. And I was saying, yeah, that may be so, but there was the staff in the prisons and the prison government and assistant governors who were determined that this was not going to happen. Now, there are very good reasons for it. It must have been the worst job in the world at that time in Northern Ireland. These people were in a job which was paying, I think, an enormous sum of money at the time. I think it was £1,000 a week or something for the rest of it. They lived in ghettos. They had a resort to their own type friends, and the Republican movement was shooting whatever number it was outside. So it was not the type of thing that we could have an academic discussion on. So basically what happened at that particular stage, with the Bobby Sands, the attitude was, well, if he wants to take his own life, he can go. The second thing that happened was, with Francis Hughes particularly, there was no sympathy for Francis Hughes. He was seen as somebody who was a gunman, killing, murdering, as their words, putting soldiers and so forth. They weren't interested in him. We then had Patsy O'Hara and McCreesh. So at that particular point of time, I was saying, this is absolutely crazy. You will not win this one. You can't win this one. Don't go there. Let's sort this out. Let's settle. And that attitude I've just described was there. Then, as the momentum throughout Ireland and Europe and everywhere else built up, the British had the beginnings of rethinking about it. And
all the outside pressure.
I'm assuming that because there was no other reason why they should have done it, you know.
It's Thatcher you're talking about now, the pressure from outside.
No, Thatcher always remained apparently oblivious up there. Right? Oblivious up there. So it was the people sort of on the ground, her servants brackets.
Switch you're talking to?
No. I don't know what Donald was because I just don't know.
So it's Donald at this stage and not
It's always Donald.
Right from now on.
Right. No.
Right, okay.
The only intervention Oakley had was that week from Zimbabwe in to deliver that document. Right? So what then happened was that a dialogue, and I have to be very careful because obviously people will attempt to sort this out. What was happening then was, I was saying, it's got to be sorted. It's got to be sorted. And the Republican movement were saying, well, the conditions for sorting it are A, B, C, D, and E. And those conditions were, for example, no work in the prisons, people to have their own space. And there was a big argument for a long time, when I say a long time, I mean days was a long time in that. If you take the H block with a cross section, whether or not people could move from that section over to another section.
Association.
You're following me? fifth person, Joe McDonald. And Joe McDonald's wee girl was running, trying to whatever. And things were really, really, really building up. Right. So each and every piece of movement was dragged out where I would have a vocal situation, take it back to the group in Belfast, and they would say, look here, we'll go along with A, B, C, D and that, but we can't go along with that. So here I was in the middle doing those dialogue and the negotiations because the British government would not speak to anybody who was in fact Republican, and certainly not speak to any of the people. Let me mention them. I think Danny Morrison, you may have been one of them. You don't have to answer me. Jerry Adams may have been one of them, and whoever else was in that room may have been one of them. Now, at this particular point, and it's taken 15 years for me to put this together, what I didn't know at that time, because it was not my business to know and I didn't wish to know. And I think from this point I have to get over. I was not the person who could say to a Republican, tell me what happened to him or where is he? I never asked a question because asking questions were too dangerous in the sense of if you have to survive and you're not a member of a Republican cell, then the last thing in the world you want to be doing is asking questions. I had no idea at that point, and as I say, this is me, somebody here can correct me, that there had been a change in the leadership to what may be called the Northern Command. I did not know that happened. I just know that at that stage I was dealing with Adams in Belfast and McGuinness in Derry. I did not know that they had taken leadership of the Republican movement. I just thought that O'Brien in this stage was out, McKee was out, and various other people was out. So at that particular stage, I was limited to a situation, and that's how I wanted it.
Just explain.